everyone, this is Sibel Edmonds. Earlier, I had a breaking news, exclusive breaking report in Turkish for our audience in Turkiye. And this is the English version. We don't know if it's going to be longer or shorter, probably shorter, but we'll see how it goes because this news is not being published anywhere else. It's brand new and it has to do mainly with Turkey, Russia, the Balkans, Albania, and of course, Ukraine. And I was going to say it mainly has to do with the United States because this is a plot by the United States. But because our audience here are mostly from other countries, this is for our audience, okay? My wonderful audience around the world, hello to you. And I'm going to start with the context of what has been taking place briefly so you know about the subject. And I'm going to provide you with breaking news. If we have audience from Albania, if we have audience from Kosovo and Bosnia, our audience from Serbia and Slovenia, and of course Russia, I'm not going to forget that. This has a direct impact and relation to the issues you have been dealing caused by the United States and of course Israel, United States, the United States enabling Israel and their plots and their operations affecting you, the people in that part of the world. Well, earlier, in about 3-4 days ago, I published a report on my Patreon site. I'm not a YouTuber. It's rare for me to publish anything here on YouTube, but I publish my investigative report series on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, just click on the subscribe button because if we have more people, our kind of people, open-minded, critical thinking, people who are not tainted by partisanship or the United States, the United States satanic disease, you're welcome here, and I will be producing and publishing here on YouTube based on the demand coming from you. Otherwise, always you will find me on patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. I had reported in series on Turkiye, and the issues that have been happening, they are not that much different than what we are witnessing in Albania, okay? We have had major protests in Turkey. Turkey is in very severe economic crisis and also the crisis of democracy because the current administration, President Erdogan's administration, has been jailing major Turkish opposition figures. These are official parties, other parties. Turkey has a multi-party system for its political system. Actually, he has been going boldly and jailing them. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of reporters, journalists in Turkey who right now, as I'm recording this, they are sitting in jail, okay? So there are crises of democracy, there are crises of economy and the internal politics, but most importantly, external politics. And with this situation, first of all, the reason this administration has lasted this long in Turkey, it's because of only two countries, the United States, okay, and its partner, this is the Great Satan and the Great Satan's partner, Israel. It has helped this administration, despite the fact that it's been facing opposition from the masses, from the majority of the people in the United States, because this administration has been, because of the blackmail, okay, the blackmail that the United States, Trump administration, the CIA, and the Israel have on this President Erdogan, they have been enabling and they have been making Erdogan carry out their dirty works. And the dirty works would go into Iran, it deals with Russia, it deals with pipeline politics, it deals with drug, it deals with child sex trafficking, it deals with organ trafficking. Turkey sits at the center of this as the central headquarters in the region for the United States and Israel. And it has been for many, many years. And as you have, those of you who are familiar with my reports, Turkiye is again, the headquarters of the Operation Gladio B. Okay? And this would be since 1996, actively being the center of Operation Gladio. So with these crises and with the recent protests, right, with the support, overwhelming support for figures in the opposition parties, these are the parties that oppose the president, the current party, AKP, and his partner, MHP, with Erdogan's ruling, the desperate Erdogan has been reaching out to the United States mostly, but also to Israel. For the United States, Erdogan needs money injection, okay? Because currently, Turkish economy has less than 3 months, less than 3 months. It was 3 to 4 months. That was a few weeks ago when I reported. Less than 3 months to last. Otherwise, it's going to be a bankrupt country, okay? Major crises, the treasury is empty. So the Turkish administration, the current administration, Erdogan, they have been begging for money from the United States, but also they have been asking Israel and the United States to help them stay in power. And in return for that, Turkey has been implementing everything and anything ordered, asked by the Trump administration, the deep state, the CIA, and Israel. Okay, so that is the context for you. That is the pretext for you. The breaking news yesterday, which I reported on, you can find it on my Patreon site, had to do with next month, Turkey is going to host the biggest, the most critical, the most important NATO members meeting in Turkey, okay, next month. And everyone, all the experts, right, they say this is going to be the most critical, important NATO meeting in the past 30 to 40 years, okay? Because a lot of things are going to change based on this meeting, and many of them have already changed behind the scene. This meeting that is coming up in Turkey is going to seal it, okay? So that's as much as the public knows, because even the New York Times and some of the mainstream media and the twisters, extorters of fact, they have reported this much of it. What is not reported and what is breaking is what has taken place behind the scene in the past 18 hours between Turkey and the United States and Israel, and between Turkey and Russia's Putin. Nobody has reported on this. This is the breaking news. Turkey, in the last few days, has given, and this is secret, this is classified, but no longer after this report, Turkey, per demand from the United States, has given its commitment and promise to overtly and directly attack Russia and Russia's interest in the region, especially Azerbaijan, Central Asia, Armenia, and Georgia, okay, on the side of Ukraine. Now, you're going to say, well, Turkey has been supporting Ukraine. Yes, but Turkey has been playing this balancing two-faced act, right? Covertly, they have been contributing to the Ukraine and the EU's support of Ukraine and the United States. But overtly, they have been also trying to do a little bit of this balancing act, because economically, for energy sources and many other areas, Turkey has some dependency, not a lot, not as much as with the United States, on Russia, especially for energy sources, okay? And because of that, it has been engaged in this kind of a double play, right? You know, trying to keep the Russia front, you know, a little bit milder, pacified, while behind the scene engaging in all these operations that are targeting Russia and is against Russia, okay? They have been doing this for a long time, but especially in the past few years. This era is coming to an end It has already ended. It is sealed, okay? It is officiated, it is formal, it is official. With the pressure, because they are going to get a lot of money. They are a bankrupt country, right? And that is not only the swap money that has been reported, which is going to be coming from the United States, extending about $25 billion under the swap kind of an agreement, similar to what the United States did with Argentina about a year ago, but also other packaged situations where they receive the money, some of them in terms of military aids and orders, okay? And again, that relates directly to the Ukraine situation, okay? Other kinds of aids in terms of the construction contractors kind of situations with the United States Congress approval, which is coming soon, for Turkey to play some roles in Israel, basically, because it's occupied in Gaza in this Abraham Accord thing. But there are combination of these 8 packages between the swap and the Abraham Accord and the other deals amounts to more or less $50+ billion of injection to a bankrupt economy, okay? And Turkey, for that, has to deliver. And the Trump administration, ruled by Israel, have already made these demands very, very boldly known to Erdogan's administration. This took place on September 25th, 2025, in the White House when Erdogan was visiting Trump during this 1.5 hour intense meeting where Erdogan was given a list of, and Jared Kushner was in this meeting, a list of items that, including Operation Gladio B, that Israel and Trump administration therefore want Erdogan to do to start implementing. And Turkey has been delivering many of these. Now, this is one of the items that Turkey is signing on, okay? And that is from now on, okay, starting with this coming NATO meeting in less than a month in Turkiye, Turkey is going to overtly be on Ukraine's side, okay, militarily, but also with weapons production, but also engaging with a faction of military in attacks against Russia and Russia's interest in the region. Operation Gladio B practices in Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. Some of it is in Central Asia, Caucasus region. For example, operation in Kyrgyzstan, and that's Operation Gladio B. Some of them are terror operations. Some of them are operations to blow up certain pipelines, very important to Russia's interest, some of them to China's interest, okay? But as far as officiating Turkey, so Turkey is no longer going to be sucking up to Russia kind of outwardly for a minute and then doing the same stuff in the operation in action on the other side, okay? So that is one frame. Do you think Russia has stayed quiet? No, because this is the most important part of this breaking news. After all these meetings and phone calls happened between the officials in Turkey and the United States, by our time in the United States, Eastern Standard Time, early morning, Turkish administration, through their foreign minister Fidan, was contacted by certain Russian high-level government people. And they were told, this is they being Turkey and Erdogan administration, that the United States is not the only one with a big box of files of blackmail on Erdogan, that Russia, with its intelligence, and Russia's intelligence operation is not something to be underestimated. Russia too, has a lot of dirt, okay? Some of them extremely criminal, some of them terrorism related, most importantly, Epstein, and I'm going to come to that, on Turkish administration in power, Erdogan's government. And that if Turkey carries out and goes along with what is being asked by the EU, NATO, and the United States against Russia on the side of Ukraine, but also Operation Gladio B practices, the Russian government will start making public all these factual evidence-based information. Some of them are videotaped, some of them are completely documented, that would expose Erdogan's administration, and it's going to make it that much harder to hold on to this reign of power that via dictatorship, especially in the past few years, he has maintained. Now, I have received information from my sources in Russia, some officials in the Balkans who are familiar with this, okay? This morning around 9:30, 10, I have been getting information to find out what are the areas, the blackmail material that Russia has in its possession, because the United States has been using the same types of blackmailable stuff. That's how the world operates, people. You know that. That's what the Epstein case was really about. And I always emphasize Epstein's plural. You only know about one of the child pedophilia and the related blackmail. That is Epstein's network. There are multiple Epstein's networks in the United States and globally. Some of them specialize on little boys. Some of them specialize on boys' puberty age to 12 to 14, 15. Some of them on girls that are toddlers practically. And they are not all one Epstein. There are Epstein's plural networks, okay? That is Mossad governed and Israel governed. So here are confirmed at least 4 of the items that the Russian intelligence, the Russian government, Putin's government has on the Turkish government, Erdogan administration, and some of the businesses directly linked with the government in Turkey. Number one is on Epstein. Turkey, the Balkans, and parts of the Eastern European countries were 80+% of Epstein's victims were trafficked, okay, and were recruited and were used. I'm talking about child sex trafficking. Less than 18% are from elsewhere. Now, some of it are, was the United States, maybe UK, but 80+%. And for the Balkans, okay, that includes a lot of it, Albania, Kosovo, and Bosnia, and then Serbia, okay? To a smaller extent is Romania, okay, and Turkey. But Turkey played the central hub for the operations in the Balkans and parts of the Eastern European countries such as Slovenia and Czech Republic, more than that, Romania, okay? So in my previous coverage, you can find it on patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. They are all there. I talked about, and the title of my report was, Turkey is Epstein's Pandora box, because that's where most of the information resides. This is the information that covers mainly 1996, late 1996, till about 2002, 2003. It involves some of the children, high number, who were abducted in Turkey during the earthquake, okay? It involves during the Balkan Wars with personalities, people, high-level people in the United Nations, with some private mercenary companies such as DynCorp, were Israeli operatives with Epstein's network. They recruited and they kidnapped and they engaged in the most severe form of child sex trafficking. Not only that, the same groups were also involved in organs trafficking, illegal organs trafficking. These are illegally harvested organs, many of them from underage, not adult children of the Balkans during the Balkan Wars, specifically and especially Albania, okay? And during the earthquake in Turkey, okay? Some of these networks, Epstein's networks, were extremely active during these war refugees crossing over from Syria into Turkey. If you plug into my Patreon site and look at my reports, and I have been reporting on this nonstop investigative reports in multiple series since November, December 2025, you are going to see a lot of information there on what I just referred to. I don't want to make this go on too long. So Turkey, once and if Russia dumps what they have on Epstein and Turkey, that is going to open the Pandora's box, not only in Turkey, but also in Azerbaijan, okay? In Albania, in Kosovo, in Bosnia, and in Serbia, okay? Organ trafficking, child sex trafficking, and Turkey's connection to the network and the US and the British high level names, okay? That's where the Epstein's case can truly open. And this is where I reported again months and months ago how the United States Congress made sure that they only deal with Epstein files that dealt with 2008 and afterwards. With that, have been, and Thomas Massie was part of this cover up, and I have series on Thomas Massie long before this elections that he lost. And I don't like his competitor who won, but it has to do a man that he himself had so many dirty videos on him and had been on the leash. I'm not going to get into that part either. Russia has intelligence. Russia has evidence on Turkey, Epstein networks, the Balkans, especially Albania, Azerbaijan, and Bosnia and Kosovo and Serbia. So that's one. And once they dump, the world is going to benefit from it. And I really hope that Putin will do that. And I really am hoping that this will happen. All it takes is for Erdogan to go along with the United States and NATO's orders on Ukraine side and start through Operation Gladio B, but also through this war between the Ukrainian faction and Russia by targeting Russia directly and overtly, and we will see these files. I don't believe the current President Erdogan, is going to dare, because that will spell the end of President Erdogan. What is the second category of blackmailable evidence material Russian intelligence has on Turkish government, the current Turkish administration, Erdogan's administration? It has to do with Libya, but it also has to do with the recent, in December 2025, the Libyan plane crash that took place in Ankara, which was not a plane crash organically, it was a sabotage. And that was carried out while the plane was in a hangar that it shouldn't have been, because they put the plane in a different hangar than where it should have been. And there are videotapes, satellite obtained intelligence showing Turkish agents together with Mossad agents going inside this Libyan plane, spending about 45 minutes, okay? And afterwards, leaving with another plane, and that particular plane with the tail number is a Mossad, it's an Israeli registered airplane. Russia knew about the plan of Turkey and Mossad Israel jointly on blowing up this plane. And Russia lined up its own intelligence and satellite to collect the evidence as Turkish and the Israeli agents carried out this Libyan crash, okay? And there I have all the information on that. Actually, I reported on it in late December 2025. Again, you can go, it's open to all, and find all my investigative report series on the Libyan plane crash. So Russia would release this information, and they have all the evidence to prove. I mean, this is major. The other part of Libya is what's been taking place in Libya. So many interests are competing inside on the ground in Libya. We all know, for example, Russia's Wagner group has been active in Libya. Turkey has 3 different mercenaries operating in Libya via 3 different mercenaries, notorious mercenaries. One of them is a known registered mercenary, Turkish mercenary company. with ex-military members, just like any kind of mercenary. Think about Eric Prince. That is a known one. But then there are two secret Turkish mercenary companies operating in Libya. Both companies are joint venture between Israel and Turkey. Even though at the surface, people may think, oh, they have some competing interests in Libya. Turkish, these two other private mercenary groups, they are joint venture. They are a joint venture company formed between Turkey, this current Turkish government, and Israel, per reports. And Russia will release this because Russians have been active there. What is the third category? The third category has to do, that one goes back all the way to 2016. I believe it was about mid-December 2016. In December 2016, the Russian ambassador to Turkey was assassinated in a meeting, conference, open conference in the daylight, okay, in Ankara, capital city in Turkey. After they shot the assassin, this is the Turkish specific Turkish police group. This is a specialized unit. They received an order to make sure that he is dead. So after they shot and killed him after he assassinated, right? The assassin assassinated the Russian ambassador. The unit fired 2 or 3 times. The man was dead on the ground, right? Lying there. They shot 32 more times because they were told that they didn't want to even take 0.001%. 35 times they shot at the assassin. 32 of them were after he was dead on the ground, okay? Now, that assassination was planned and carried out by the CIA, the United States, and the Turkish forces, part of the Turkish government there. And the culprit that they blamed it on had nothing to do, had zero to do with this assassination, okay? This FETÖ group is BS. This was carried out by the CIA and the Turkish special unit, okay? Russia, since the assassination, has collected so much evidence proving that this assassination was carried out in Turkey as a dual operation by the United States and the current Turkish government heads. They got the real autopsy reports, they got the real intelligence reports, and they recruited high-level insiders in Turkey to get real intelligence on what happened, how happened, all the officials who were responsible for this Russian ambassador's assassination. Okay? And Russia, Putin, they have been sitting on it since 2018. Okay? That's a long time. Russia seems to be a very patient country, right? Because you never know when you're going to need this information, when the time comes. Well, the time has almost arrived. All it takes is for this current Turkish government to actually start implementing, and as planned, per order by the United States and NATO, all these operations against Russia, and announce it, which was scheduled to come out very soon, the announcement. The semi-announcement has already been out there. So that's the third category. The fourth one, I don't have much information, but my sources, I'm going to be in contact. I'm still investigating. The fourth category has to do with the coup, or the so-called coup in Turkey in 2016. That what was that really about? Who were the ones who designed it? What was the purpose of it? Okay? All the interests involved. I don't have the details yet, but I am going to get the details, and I'm going to be reporting that. Probably it will be on my channel on patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. As I said, and I have a video there, I no longer report or deal with Majority USA, okay? I'm going to emphasize, I was the only journalist, analyst in the world, because you can go look at the track records. Anybody who wants to contradict this, I invite them to check, because they're open on my website on Patreon. All you have to do, go all the way down. start looking my investigative series on Jared Kushner and Epstein partnership via Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem of UAE, via Israeli Mossad. And Albania is involved, some involvement. It has to do with Serbia. I exposed that. The whole Satan Island, my series titled it, the series, as Satan Island. I established my sources in the Balkans for this. I broke the story, and the first one came about mid-December 2025. And about, you can again go find it on my Patreon. They are all dated. You can look at the history, okay, of my ex, because on my ex account, formerly Twitter, I have had all those articles publicized. Here's my part 3. Here is my podcast on this. Here is the new information on Jared Kushner. There is so much more. The US media, 5-6 months after I broke the story, I was featured on Russia Today. I was featured on RT Serbia. The mainstream media in Albania, okay, Pamphletti, they ran, I believe, an 8-part series over 2 weeks, covering all my exposés, all documented, everything, all the details in January and February 2026. Now, because of Albanian protests, and kudos to you, Albania, I'm proud of you, mainstream media have been making it breaking news, Jared Kushner's involvement. Jared Kushner was very involved with Epstein's network via Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem in UAE, which is also a Mossad operative, and involved in this child sex trafficking. A lot of it involves the Balkans and Albania and Turkey. 5 months before I reported it. Now they are kind of distorting it. Even like Tucker Carlson, all these people, I'm telling you, they are distorting it. There is so much more, and you can read it, because there is also the cocaine connection which led to Maduro's removal that nobody in the world has reported. As I said, the mainstream media in Serbia, in Albania, Russia Today, all these publications, they covered it. They had multiple interviews 6 months, 5 months ago. 5 months before, they are telling you this is breaking news and this is the distorted version. So, as I was saying, I'm not doing it for majority USA. I have already washed my hands, and I don't want to have anything to do. If you're here by mistake, you're part of the majority, please leave. You're not welcome here. This is not a site for you. There are millions of sites, very, very popular out there. This is for the world. This is for humanity. And specifically because my work in the past 6 months has been focused on Epstein, Jared Kushner, the Operation Gladio B, the Balkans, okay, Albania, Serbia, and Turkey, okay, and some more on Azerbaijan is coming soon, because Aliyev, the corrupt Aliyev in Azerbaijan, is like neck deep in this Epstein scandals in Azerbaijan, and also multiple trips to Azerbaijan. Again, not after 2008. I'm talking about the time frame 1996 till 2003. I have always here announced and said repeatedly that these channels, the one that right now you're watching me at, X, Facebook, all of them, they are the deep state's tentacles. These are the deep state. This is their playing field. And because of that, I also said, for me, it is important to have quality, not quantity. So I have never become a YouTuber. I have operated in an amazing community. We have thousands of people, and we have subscribers, monthly subscribers, who are making all this work and investigative work possible in my little small community at Patreon, patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. But because what's happening in Albania, because what's happening and what is about to happen in Turkey, okay, I have had thousands of people. You can look at the previous posted videos and look at the translated version of the comments. They have been requesting, please, not many of us can't afford being member of the patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. Can you find a way for us and put this information, because this is crucial, this is critical for us. We are at the most critical that we have ever been, at least in the last 50 years, 50 plus years in Turkey, and make it public. So I'm doing my best to do that. So for that, I have put one other way of having my work supported. I don't run ads. Have you noticed? You don't see advertisement. I am not going to, because first of all, they're not going to like me. Many of these ads are created and ran by the deep state corporations, and I don't want to have any part of it. But there is a way for you to support this work. Those of you who want the English, not Turkish, and you want to see it open to all on YouTube, and that is buymeacoffee.com under Sibel Edmonds. I'm going to include the link in the description in the pinned comment section. I will also put my Patreon site. That's my home. Patreon is my community. This community is the most amazing community. This is the community that has enabled me to come back to life. I was absent for 5 years, okay? I'm still recovering from what I went through. And it's because of this amazing community that I have been able to, in the past 9 months to 10 months, start coming back as a journalist, as an analyst, and report on stories that you are not going to hear anywhere else. If you find any of the reports I have, confirmed reports, anywhere else, please come and add it in the comment section. I will welcome that, because you won't. Because I'm not dependent on their advertisement, because I don't have big corporate partners, sponsors, and because I have always been nonpartisan. Both parties are corrupt in this country, and I have gone further, because this is the country where its majority have shrugged 9/11. To this date, they have not. I'm not talking about the small minority of Americans who are still active on 9/11 and the 9/11 family members. I'm talking about the majority USA. This is the majority that doesn't give a shit about their government and Israel actually implementing 9/11 and killing their own people and leaving tens of thousands of people related to them in this shape. Because look, it has been 25 years. It's going to mark 25 years. It's the 25th year this September. This is the majority that is still hasn't really pressed on, like what we see in Albania today. 500,000 people. It's been now day 5, and they are not giving up. Even going back to JFK's assassination, knowing that they have been given nothing but BS and betraying the only real president representing their interests, okay, being assassinated. This is the majority of the USA, okay, that has already shrugged off the Epstein case, knowing that majority of their representatives in Congress, they are pedophile, they are satanic people, including their president and the entire system here. That's why they have been called the United States the Great Satan. It's because of, not because of the government, not because of the Congress, not because of the courts, because the majority USA says this represents us, meaning they are part of this disgusting pedophilia and satanic and genocidal practices around the world, be it in Iraq, be it in Afghanistan, be it in Libya, be it in Syria, be it in Somalia, okay? It is done by these people's money and consent. Because have you seen 500,000 Americans coming out and saying, we don't want Epstein network as our government. We need to really turn this upside down. You haven't. But I am so happy to see it in Albania. I am so proud of you, Serbia, for defeating Jared Kushner with your determination despite your government. Kudos to you. You are far superior to this mongrel majority USA. I am with you. I am with any and every victims of the United States and Israel, whether they are within a community, a country. I am with you. I am not part of this system. I have announced it. I have removed myself, and soon I'm going to leave it. And this country that I have fought for 25 years, the majority, these Americans have given the fingers and shrugged me off because they don't want to know. They have this disease called cognitive dissonance by choice, okay? They are not welcome here. This is for you, the world, humanity. This is for you and humanism. This is for all of you who want to end the reign of this satanic country, and it's that enables the other satanic country, Israel. These are the two that are causing what you see in the world, what you have been seeing in this world, whether be it 9/11, okay? Whether being this Epstein, this whether being JFK, this is the country. This is the country that uses nuclear bomb. This is the country that has used consistently chemical and biological agents. I lived in Vietnam for 1.5 years, okay? Agent Orange, and they are still shrugging it off. They are not even apologizing for what they did in Vietnam. They are the ones who have killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya, in Syria, causing millions war refugees. These are the people who are protecting those who are raping, kidnapping your children for child sex trafficking. This is the country, the United States, that is enabling all this satanic evil shit. Okay? So I am with the humanity no matter where you are in the world. And I have zero affiliation with any bullshit party, with any bullshit political interest group, or any of their advertisers and commercial producers or sponsors. My advertisers are you, the people. My sponsors are you, the people, the humanist people. And my supporters, contributors are you, the people, okay? Please, if you want to be part of this, if you want to read, listen to in my podcast program, watch more videos, there are two ways you can support. Join me and become a monthly member, subscribing member at patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. Patreon.com has nothing to do with this evil algorithm and all the fakery you're seeing on X, Facebook, and where right now you're watching this video. Come and become a subscribing member at patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds, or you can do this if you want more of this on YouTube in English for anyone in the world. Please, I have put the link, buy me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com at Sibel Edmonds/Sibel Edmonds. The link is there. There you can either do monthly subscription, whatever you want, however you want in terms of money, or you can do one-time donation and you determine how much you're willing, how much you're able to during this economic hardship, how much you want to contribute. I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to join the rest of us, the humanists. Let's support Albania, okay? Let's support the good people, humanist people in Turkey, because they have been getting it from all sides, okay? It's Israel in the US and its regime that has been jailing their journalists and any of their political activists and political figures. And the ones that are maintaining this regime there are right here, the great Satan. Please join me, contribute via buymeacoffee.com, Sibel Edmonds. Come and join my community outside this deep state's playing ground at patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. Much love, much respect to you. We are going to prevail. Despite all the experiences, I still haven't given up. Despite what this country has done to me, I'm still semi-standing. I haven't given up. We are not going to give up. We are going to defeat this satanic empire. Good night and good luck.